This is ANN News Brief.
Good morning, I'm Lucy Adeyemi. Amnesty International says Egypt's crackdown on freedom of expression has reached alarming levels, calling for the unconditional release of Egyptians jailed for peacefully expressing their views. The rights groups launched a campaign called Egypt, an open-air prison for critics, on Tuesday. It said in a statement it wants supporters around the world to show their solidarity with Egyptians detained for expressing their views by writing to the Cairo government to put an end to the persecution. Egypt has launched the largest crackdown on critics in its modern history in 5 years, since the military ouster of a freely elected but divisive Islamist president. The government has arrested thousands of its supporters, along with iconic secular activists, placed the media under tight control and suppressed freedoms. The United Nations independent expert on the enjoyment of human rights by persons with albinism recently called upon Kenya to do more to protect those living with albinism in the country. In the last year, 7 cases of attacks against persons with albinism were reported in Kenya. The country has made significant progress in responding to such attacks, but still has much to do to ensure justice for the victims. Daniel Shisia is a Nairobi resident who was born with genetic condition, which means he lacks the skin coloring pigment of melanin. Shisia also has a 7-year-old daughter born with albinism, and every day he worries for the safety and lives in fear of attacks. In certain communities in Africa, albino body parts are a precious commodity. Some believe they have special healing properties, beliefs which put albino people at risk.
And tell you that, you know, your money, we can take you to Tanzania and be sold. So we feel insecure that we can't even walk at night.
Stay with us. We'll be back after this short break.
Are you sure you want to do this?
Adam, go and bring us your husband. Okay, hello baby.
We're in this together, okay? Can you hear me? Keep coming forward.
Wait, stop.
You okay, lean to your right. Keep walking down. Keep walking to the left. Yes.
You're almost here.
Keep going.
You are here. Wow, you did it.
I'm just so glad I didn't have to use my cane to do this.
And I am so glad no other man got you before me. Let me be your eyes.
We will never stop working to give you a network you can rely on, so you can enjoy life's special moments. MTN, everywhere you go.
Equatorial Guinea has demanded Brazil hand back more than 16 million in cash and luxury watches confiscated by border guards from a delegation accompanying the president's son, Teodoro Obiang. Equatorial Guinea's foreign minister has denounced the seizure, calling it paltry and unfriendly behavior. He demanded the items be returned. Vice President of Equatorial Guinea and son of its longtime ruler arrived in Sao Paulo on Friday on a private plane as part of an 11-person delegation. Media reports say federal police found $1.5 million in cash in one bag and watches worth an estimated $15 million in another. Brazilian law prohibits people from entering the country with more than $2,500 in cash. A diplomatic source from Equatorial Guinea was quoted as saying the money was to pay for medical treatment Obiang was to undergo in Sao Paulo. The report said the watches were for his personal use and engraved with his initials. 49-year-old Obiang Jr. was sentenced in France to a 3-year suspended term in October last year for money laundering. That's ANN News Brief. Thanks for watching. For details on these and other stories, visit our website, annafrica.net. Also join the conversation on Facebook, facebook.com/ANNAfricaTV, Instagram and Twitter at ANNAfricaTV. I'm Lucy Adeyemi. Good morning.